G'day ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening round of ANZCRL Combined Racing League's European Le Mans Series. I am your host commentator for this series, Saturday 15. With me in the commentary box tonight is Lucky 55s.
G'day everyone, good night to be out racing tonight. I think I'm super keen for this one. This is going to be a good series as it'll give us a bit of a form guide as well as we headed towards June and our big race of the year at Le Mans. So it'll be good to see who really excels in the hybrid in the prototype style racing.
Well, that's exactly right. We've had one event so far this year in the prototypes, and that saw Loft Vanish take. It was Dark Racing and Gear 3 Gaming with Loft Vanish in second. So they're the guys to look out for in these cars. Although based on practice times, it looks like Dread, who was up near the front in our Formula 4 championship, is probably going to be the one to beat.
Driving a bit of a different car as well here, Dread. Most of the others have gone for the closed cockpit style P2 car. Dread's popped out there in the old Oracle with the open cockpit and seems to be making it work too. Very quick practice times out there as well.
Yeah, exactly right. As these cars have just entered the track now to start qualifying. The event process so far for this is to do pre-qualifying first and foremost to set the lobbies up for this. So we've got this is the top two. These are the top 12 or 13 drivers in this that have signed up for this series. The other group of drivers are currently in the bottom split being streamed as we speak and will be on our YouTube channel in, I guess, a few hours time after they've finished up. So plenty of action going on tonight for ANZCRL Combined Racing League. And the first times are currently on the board. Dread setting the pace at the moment, a 1:26.2 with Aussie Carter's second. He's been dominant so far since he's come back. He's won the Formula 4 challenge and was on his way to win the Imola 4 hours until I disconnected, had to drive with Gecko, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately that's the industry we play with in the esports, with the internet being a determining factor out there. As we see a couple of cars getting rather close there in qualifying. But yeah, so because if I recall, there was another team earlier at our first prototype race of the year at Daytona that got a little bit screwed over by an internet connection as well. So it's the game we play, the gamble we take. But if you pull off and you have a good internet, you can have a really good fun time.
Just seeing times at the moment with 5 minutes left in the session. We've got Dread first at 26.2, Aussie Carter second, Dark Racing in third. Gecko is fourth, he's 1 second back. Loft Vanish is dropped down to 6th because Kyle Blake has just gone into 5th. Dado Racer in 7th with Whopper in 8th, Illogical Sports 9th, Jetto in 10th, Gear 3 Gaming 11th, Right Soul 12th, and CMDR Cirrus is in last place at the moment. So we see Kyle Blake spinning out, trying to go for another hot lap.
Speaking of hot laps, I think we'll jump on for this one because I'm tipping it's going to be a good lap.
Yep. As we jump on board with Dread in the Orica prototype with the Nissan engine in the back. As should be the car to beat, I would expect. The only open cockpit car in the field. So you'll be loving that feeling of fresh air onto that visor. It comes into pass through under the Dunlop Bridge. This is where the Bugatti circuit moves away from the Circuit de la Sarthe and goes through a sequence of straights and tight hairpins. Perfect for bike racing as they come here every year for the French Grand Prix.
Yep, and our very own Jack Miller does quite well here as well. He seems to really click with the circuit.
Yeah, when he's not having massive crashes at turn 1.
Definitely. There's a double apex hairpin there. That one's a tricky one because sometimes you can run it wide if you're trying to look after the tyres and go for the longer run. But on a quali one, you really want to nail both apexes through there.
Yeah, through this medium speed chicane there, at the end of that straight, there will be a half chance at an overtaking spot through these medium speed S-bends into the final two corners where the track rejoins the Circuit de la Sarthe Le Mans 24-hour circuit as it past the final corner across the line. What time has he said? He's done a 25.7, so he's increased the gap to half a second over Dark Racing, who's actually improved his time and leapfrogged Aussie Carter's.
I would look to see possibly as they work the fuel loads down here as well, to see a few cars go even quicker again. The Darky there with about 11 litres of fuel in the tank there as well.
Exactly, as now Dark Racing crosses the line, he has not improved, so maybe that was just an outlap and he'll be going through a hot lap now. He's close to the radiator write-off, so he's trying to get the maximum amount of performance out of his RWD Nissan.
Yep. You see the temps starting to get up there as well. Obviously they'll open them up for the race, but in qualifying as a driver you want as much speed as possible, maximum horsepower, maximum velocity, minimal drag. It's all about going fast for that one lap at a time.
Exactly. He's now halfway through the lap at the moment in this downhill double right hand hairpin section. Pretty smooth as he now powers out.
Oops, sorry, just flipped over there as I said. Dredd there improved his lap time again.
Yep, he's now done a 25.5, so not quite the times he was setting in practice, but still really quick, and he's the odds-on favourite to get the pole position as we come out into the final minute of this session.
There's the Dark Racing coming now around the final corner. Another double hairpin style corner coming across the line. Improves his lap time by about 1/10 of a second there. So he'll definitely want more. But at this stage,
that's
it looks like he's given up actually.
Yep, so that's his qualifying done. He feels he can't get any more time out of it. Aussie Carter's crosses the line. He still hasn't improved his time. Just can't quite get below that 26.4 marker. So it's the brotherly connection in third and fourth at the moment. And they'll be trying to get the bragging rights in that household.
Oh,
Vanish.
And there's a car
That's Cirrus getting squirmy right in front of Vanish. That's going to put Vanish off. He's trying to
I think that's killed both their laps there.
Cirrus still on a flying lap. He's done a 1:33 as his best lap. Vanish trying to get himself into the 26s as Dredd has now set the benchmark at a 1:24.8. So he's currently in pole position. Cirrus has spun out. That's another car off. That's one of the...
I think that was Kyle Blake as well off there as well at the same point. And unfortunately for Vanish, I think he might have been cost a massive amount of time there and a good lap.
Yeah, we'll see if he can still improve. He has not, so he stays in 6th place. Illogical
Next cars to be watched will be Illogical and Right Soa, but running out of time here, and as more and more cars drop off the circuit,
and that looks like either Aussie Carter's or, in fact, I think it's Aussie Carter's behind. Got Gecko, who's gone into third. He's jumped his brother. Aussie Carter's, can he improve? No, he cannot.
The only other driver I think out there that could improve is Right Soa at this stage. A 1:29 at this point. Not a great lap, but as we say, he's still got another corner or two.
And it is faster than what the time he was able to put in pre-qualifying. So he's coming good, slowly but surely. Comes across the line. I think that was a slight improvement, but
he put in a 1:28.8 there at the end. So an improvement nonetheless, but no gains in position, unfortunately.
So Dread is your pole sitter with Dark Racing 40 in second. Got Gecko's jumped his brother in third place. Aussie Cutters in fourth. Whopper in fifth with Illogical Sports in sixth. Loft Vanish seventh. Jetto eighth with Kyle Blake in ninth. Dado Racer down in 10th. He won't be happy with that qualifying. Rightso in 11th. Gear 3 Gaming down in 12th. He also will not be happy being there. CMDR Cirrus last place on the grid. Dado Racer's got himself a 1 place grip penalty. That'll drop him down to 11th, promote Rightso into the top 10.
You don't like to see people get penalties, but for Rightso, I think he'll be more than happy to take that spot. It's another row forward on the grid. It's one less car he's got to deal with coming into turn one, and yeah, unfortunately for Dado, that's not exactly how you want your season to start, qualifying 10th and a grid penalty.
Exactly right. Just having a look at Dread comparison, he's getting all his time in that third sector effectively. He's getting that car pointed in and going better than all the other cars.
He's got some good engineers working on that car there, getting it really sharp and pointy, and that's what you want. You want it to be a quick car, and hopefully it's not a qualifying car, and it can actually hold some pace throughout the race as well.
Still waiting for the race to start, or the drivers to walk onto the grid. Just gonna have a look at the weather forecast at the moment, and it looks like it's gonna be a nice sunny day in Le Mans, which I reckon a few of the drivers will be happy about, not having to contend with any sort of rain.
I'll tell you what, it makes it easier for us commentators not having to look through the rain. It can get a little bit distracting occasionally when you're watching it. But for our race start, unfortunately, we don't get a nice we don't get the traditional Le Mans start where we're all starting on the diagonal and everyone has to run to the cars. We'll line up on the grid 2 by 2 here today as well, and it'll be all about getting that perfect launch off the start.
Well, we've got a slightly different starting procedure for this one because it is a rolling start. They're going to try get as many cars 2 by 2 as possible, but because the game makes the lights go green right as the cars are at the apex of the final corner, the cars are going to wait and hold 100 kph until they reach the finish line, and then the cars will go. So that way we can try and get as many cars side by side as we can around, get them through the final corner, and then the race will be underway. Here we go.
Sorry.
On the grid now. So the drivers will now be putting their race setups on. There's no parc ferme in this series, so they can fill the tanks to the brim, and they'll be looking to try and get as long as possible to allow a shorter fill at their pit stop. The drivers that will be able to keep the pace up and save the amount of fuel will be best placed for this race.
Definitely 100%, and I mean, we can have a look, but I'm tipping that most drivers will be running with a full tank off the start here. Except, unusually, I'm not 100% sure if that is a full tank in the Oro Cup, but 61 litres is a lot less than the other cars.
Yeah, we reckon the Ligier Nissans that a lot of the drivers are running will be best placed in the fuel strategy game for this race, but you got to remember, you got to know where to shift, because the shift lights on the Nissan are different in reality to what they appear on your dash, so you can often rev the engine out for no reason.
And there's not a lot of speed loss as well by taking a shorter shift either. As another driver notable here, 60 litres there in Logical Esports, and he is in the Nissan as well, which can hold up to 75 litres.
Yeah, so he's trying to go for a lighter fill, as here we go, where the drivers are off for the formation lap, with Dread leading the way. So it looks like most of the field have gone for full fuel. Although
Dado there with a smaller load as well, again, 62 litres.
yeah, he's in the RWD, so he's probably got a bit less in the tank to play with than the other drivers.
However, the other RWD out there, Dark Racing, has got 75 litres in there,
so some of the drivers
maybe
must
it's a
be,
strategy play.
Yeah, I guess there must be a strategy play to get a lighter fuel to help them charge through the field faster and get some track position, but they will be stationary pits for a lot longer than the cars that have filled the cars to the top.
Definitely. We're coming around in the warm-up, but you'll see a lot of the drivers weaving and trying to get some temp into the tyres. And quite a lot of them as well will be clutching the car in, so taking those revs out of the car just to save as much fuel as possible. There are a few cars that will be marginal on fuel here as well, coming through, starting with that lower fuel load.
Exactly right. It's going to all be all about the pit stops. As we see Lee Gona, Woody Lizard jumping into the chat tonight. Happy to see you. Wish you could be racing tonight, but we all know the work takes precedence, and we look forward to seeing you back in a couple of weeks' time. And we say hello to AG Motorsport, formerly Fish Racing 3, a former competitor in our series, and actually raced in our iRacing NASCAR Truck Series last night. So we welcome you and hope you guys enjoy this broadcast as the cars are now running their way down to the final few corners to start this race, as I hand it over to my co-commentator to commentate the start of this race.
So everyone will be starting to get nervous, the nerves are building, drivers are getting ready. They'll all be hoping to get a really good start here, because an hour and 10 minutes, you're not going to want to be making too many moves, but at the same time, you don't want to bend it off the start. As we come around the penultimate corner here, and pulling up 2x2 here, getting ready to go. Well, here we go, 2x2, ready to start, ELMS for 2020, and we're off. Dread Racing gets a brilliant start over Darky, who gets a bit of a poor start there, and Got Gecko's up the inside into turn 1.
Yeah, Got Gecko's got a ripper start.
There's a car making a big move there. I think that's Whopper's gone a bit
Oh,
deep
there's
into
contact.
turn 1, and
We have a spinner. That is Aussie Carter's has spun out. He's into last place now, so he got hit by what looked like Illogical Sports.
And I think we got Whopper off as well. We're trying to get to catch him there. Whopper's off track as well there.
So that's not been a good start for Aussie Carter's or Whopper. They'll be trying to recover, but at the front it's Dread. He's got a good start. Got Gecko, brilliant start. He's got himself into second place. Dark Racing third. Illogical Sports has also had a great start. He's up into fourth. Loft Vanish is in fifth place. He'll be looking to continue his charge. There's an overtake there. It looks like
bit of contact.
Kyle Blake just nudging Jetto, trying to go around the outside as they approach this left-right sweeper. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers?
Oh, they're both holding it in there.
And Jetto's got the move
I think
done.
Kyle's had to back out there.
So that's a
good
move
drive
by
for
Jetto.
both drivers. You watch our leader come over the start-finish line for the end of the first lap. Still 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 19 seconds to go.
Yep, 70-minute race this one, which is why these guys will have to make pit stops at some stage. Dread has got a good lead at the moment, set to 1 second already. Illogical Sports has had I keep saying it's just been a ripper start. He was down in like 8th or 9th place at the end of qualifying, I want to say. He's got himself into 4th, granted with a couple of spinners. But you got to take those chances when you get them.
So Aussie Carter's has already started to move back through the pack as well, getting CMD, and as we watch there, he's just got a really good move on right side there. He might have just moved out of the way for him there as well.
Aussie Carter's, of course, was our Formula 4 champion earlier in the year. He'll be looking to bring that momentum into this one. And he'll be guided. This is a longer than normal race for our series, so he's got plenty of time to catch up, use his raw car speed to move his way through. In the next car,
Definitely.
Aussie Carter's will be chasing down his Gear 3 Gaming, who's at the back of his train.
His Gear 3 Gaming's just run off the track there.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a train starting up behind Jetto, as Vanish has ended up getting through. And Vanish is now up on the gearbox of Illogical Sports. Illogical Sports will be trying to hold his position and make the most of what has been a brilliant start.
Definitely, and props to him. I mean, it's a difficult thing to start a race car rolling or start stationary. Either way, as we saw, Dark Racing lost the second place there off the start, but to come from relatively mid-pack to now be running top 4, top 5, it's a good start, and hopefully he can keep moving forward as well. So, because it seems like he has the pace to keep going forward. The Aussie Carters has got past Gear there somewhere. I don't know what's happened there, but he might have gone off track somewhere.
Yeah, looks like Gear's made a mistake, because he's fallen back quite away from Aussie Carters. In fact, Aussie Carters is now starting to catch up to this long train that's headed by Illogical Sports.
Definitely. As we see, Gear 3 Gaming is moving further backwards there. I think he might have made another mistake, because he's now at the back of the field. Unfortunate for the poor guy. Had a relatively good run in the Formula Ford series when he was on, but seems to be a bit hit and miss at the moment. Hopefully he can work down his consistency, and we'll see definitely a good driver there in the making.
That's serious making a mistake there, so that's going to open the door up for Ratzo and Whopper if they just hold position behind. Whopper's looking down the inside of Ratzoa. They're going side by side through the S's. Whopper leaves the road. It looks like he's got the move done. Ratzo's looking again.
Poor old Whopper qualified around, I think it was 6th or 7th place, so he's definitely out not where he should be in terms of on the track. Looks like he's definitely got the pace to move past these guys. It's just a bit difficult at the moment. Dado as well, ranging up on the back of Kyle Blake, who's a newcomer to ANZCRL, and it's awesome to see new people. And if you are someone new to the stream or to the series and you're keen to have a go, we're very accommodating. We'd love to have you come down and have a race. As you can see, we've got all sorts of new guys here. I think we've got 2 lobbies full to the brim, 13 people in both lobbies. So, yeah, as I said, if you're watching this and you think, oh, I'd love to have a go at that, you're more than welcome to come on down and have a try. And the whole group, everyone from Neil, Woody Lizard, who runs the series, right through the guys racing, and they're all nice and accommodating, and they'll help you out where they can.
Dado Race has got himself an early penalty, but he's not going to let that phase him as he tries to get past Kyle Blake and get that 7th place. Dado never really been a good qualifier in any of the series, but he's a brilliant race car driver, knows how to overtake, he's got good car speed, and he'll be trying to make the most of it now.
Yeah, I want to watch out for Aussie Carters there behind as well, who's definitely got a little bit more race pace than Dado. What Dado could do is he could use Aussie Carters to get past Kyle here as well, because it seems like it's just a little bit difficult to overtake at the moment around here. Bit of a flowing track. Some places are a bit harder than others. So if Dado can't get the move, he may end up using Aussie Carters here to get past.
Yes, Dado's looking, but he can't quite get there. Looks like Kyle Blakey's made a mistake that could open the door up for Dado into this next left-hand hairpin. Looks like Kyle Blake has got enough of an exit to hold Dado at bay.
Got a good race here going on, hopefully, and all showing the nose, just letting him know, I'm here, I'm ready to have a go. Watch out.
Yeah, so, and Aussie Carters will be hoping Dado can make the move as soon as possible, so they can both can get past Kyle Blake. He's hasn't quite got the same pace of the 2 cars behind him. As
another battle here heating up as well, as Vanish has closed onto the back of the Logical Esports again. just in the same position. Dado is just not quite able to make the move at this stage, but he's definitely showing the nose and letting him know what's happening here.
Yep. Yeah, these prototypes generated a reasonable amount of downforce. There is a bit of dirty air out the back of the cars, so it's as Cole Blakey has now lost the position to Dado, so Dado's got a brilliant run on the exit of the final corner, so he's made the move, and now Aussie Carter's is looking to make a move down the inside here at La Chapelle.
Oh, I think he might get it too.
Oh,
it's tight.
There was almost
No
a nudge,
contact.
but they were able to keep the space. They're now going side by side down this short blast of this left-hander, and it looks like Aussie Carter's is making the move around the outside, so he's using that car pace and the downforce beautifully to get that overtake stick, and now Aussie Carter's will chase down Dado Racer, who in turn is chasing down Jetto, as Kyle Blake has just run wide, really wide, but there's enough runoff there.
He's headed to Belgium with that one.
But he's the good part about that section of track is that it's...
Oh, and Vanish has got a move there. Sorry to cut you off. Vanish has gone up the inside at the left-right chicane there, similar to the move he made on Jetto. He's got the move past Illogical Esports there.
Yep, so that's a good move by Vanish. That's got him into 4th place, and now he's got an open track ahead that he can use to try and close down on Dark Racing 40. He hasn't been able to keep up with the same pace as Gok Gecko. That gap has been pushed out to roughly 2 seconds. As here goes Aussie Carter's and Dado Racing, the big battle that is currently for 7th place.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Carter's make a move here soon. He's definitely ranging up on the back. He's got the headlights on. He's had them on since lap 1, since the moment he got turned around. Oh, he's got a little bit loose on the back brakes there. I think he might have lost the opportunity for this lap. But he's definitely not far off. Ooh,
here goes Aussie Carter's around the outside. It's the same move he pulled on Kyle Blake. He hasn't quite got the same momentum out of it. He's got the inside into this double right-hander. He should get the move stick. It's an almost impossible task to go around the outside here. And that's exactly what happens. Aussie Carter's now into 7th place. Dado down the 8th. But those guys will be looking to team up now to try and catch up to Jetto.
It doesn't look like Vanish has managed to pull away from Illogical Esports at this stage. He's just holding on to the back of him, possibly doing the old I'll watch your lines now and go as fast as you trick. So hopefully we can see these two stick to each other and bring them to the front of the pack as well, catch up to Darky. We'd love to see a good race for the lead and the front pack as well.
Well, at the front, Drader's pulled his lead out to almost 10 seconds now from Gok Gecko's. He's running a pace that no one is able to keep up with. And his fuel strategy is not going to matter much by the looks of it, because he's now got a buffer where he can put in more fuel and still keep that lead.
Definitely, but knowing what race car drivers are like and knowing fairly well how everyone thinks, he'll want to put as little amount of fuel as possible in there and go to the end and finish with 0. Be the fastest, because you never know, someone might find some pace later in the stint.
Jetto's actually closed up on the back of Illogical Sports, so Illogical Sports must have made a mistake because he's dropped back behind Lock Vanish. That's now out to about a second and a half. So now Jetto's now stiffened for blood, and he could be making the move in a few laps time. And here comes Aussie Carter's. He's closing rapidly on Jetto. So this all of a sudden could be a 4-way scrap for 5th place in a few minutes.
I wouldn't
time.
count Dado Racing out either. He's only about a second and a half back from Carter's, and he's reeling in the other two as well. So we could see a 5-way fighting. We could see a 4 or 5-way fight for 4th place here soon.
Exactly right, but now 57.5 minutes left in this race. It's been action-packed already, and it looks like it's going to continue. He's-
And it's what you want to see. It's good to have a good fight going on everywhere. It's exciting, and I know I'm excited as a commentator to watch it all unfold.
as we, just follow these cars at the moment, sort of settle down as we wait for the cars to close up dramatically to start looking for overtakes. Dado's slowed up. It looks like he's serving a slowdown, so that's actually let Kyle Blake through and dropped Dado down the ninth. So Dado's falling foul of the track limits around here at the moment. There is a fair bit of runoff around this track that is was put in for the MotoGP riders, so that often means that it gives you a false reading of, oh, you can take the corner faster than you think, and it often will bite you when the slowdown penalties come by.
And unfortunately, it's sort of stripped us of that extra car in this little battle, but we're still gonna see some good moves here from Aussie Carters as he starts to continue tearing through the pack.
He's having a look now, going down the inside of Jetto as they go through turn 1 and into the Dunlop chicane. He's going to break the latest. He's going to force him into a mistake. Looks like Jetto's there, going very deep.
But well driven to hold on to that and keep position.
Yeah, it's great defensive driving for Jetto there, and he keeps Aussie Carters at bay. No, Jetto's made a mistake, and that's let Aussie Carters through. So just a bit too deep on the brakes for Jetto. That's gifted Aussie Carters a free position. He's into 6th place now after being 13th at the start of lap 1. And
it is a good drive to get back, definitely. But only problem is he's now 17 seconds off the back of Dark Racing as well. He's got to make all of that time back up to get back into 3rd position.
Yes, exactly right. He's been stuck in traffic at the moment, so we don't know we haven't seen his true pace as of yet. He did qualify in 4th place, so he'll be looking to chase down Illogical Sports and Loft Vanish. But they are 4 seconds and 7 seconds up the road respectively, so it's going to be a big drive for him to try and close him down.
I think we've had Kyle Blake off the track again there, so he's just lost about 4 seconds and he's fallen behind Dado again. It's unfortunate for the young bloke, but hopefully he can settle himself back in again and get a good rhythm going.
Exactly. So just seeing Aussie Carters go through, he's cruising at the moment. He's probably the 2nd or 3rd fastest driver on the track at the moment. Once he can get a clear air, which he hasn't had all race. He cost himself that with an early spin. He's now closing up on Illogical Sports as we have a look at Dredd across the finish line at the start, lap 12. 54 minutes remaining, and he's already pulled out a 16-second gap on Gok Gecko.
This is a real masterclass we're watching here, ladies and gentlemen. I think this particular driver here, Dredd, has absolutely nailed the setup, the car, the track, and at the end of the day, it's just nice to sit back and watch in amazement at how well he's driving around here.
It reminds me of the days back when Chuck Racing was on Xbox and putting us to work in the V8 series multiple years ago. That's been there. We've got 4 drivers with penalties at the moment, so the track limits are catching a few drivers out. Loft Vanish, Dado Racer, Rightso and Seam Dow Cirrus all with 1 second time penalties to be added at the end of this race, and we could see more to follow.
Definitely, and as you said before, it's one of those tracks that's just a bit deceiving, the white line is, and very easily you can be caught out by it. And some choose to serve the penalties, and others choose to cop them as a post-race thing. So one little battle we've had going on all racing is Rightso and CMD Cirrus. They've been swapping positions up and down all race, and looks like they're the closest cars on track at the moment. So hopefully they can provide some action for us.
Exactly. he's, he's just cruising about that 1.5 second gap at the moment. So it's no one's looking for an overtake just yet. It's close enough where these drivers have got to push lap after lap after lap after lap, do qualifying laps to try. For Rightso, he's trying to pull away. For Cyrus, it's to close up and try and gain another position in this race.
You see, Aussie Carter's there, definitely has the pace to be within that top 4. Just being held up through the traffic, and I think possibly a mistake on that last lap as well. He's done a second slower than he was on lap 12. But he's definitely pulling in Illogical Esports here at a rate at knots, and I reckon possibly a lap or two before we'll see these guys in combat.
Yep. Exactly. Just gonna, while we're in the lull, just talk through the point system for this series, where you get 50 points for getting the race win, 43 for second, 40 for third, and it's about 3 2.2 point gap all the way down till you get to 20th place, where 20th gets 1 point, and 21st you get half a point on down. So the drivers at the back of lobby 2 will be they won't change much, it'll just be 0.5, but it shows the value of the importance of pre-qualifying, trying to get yourself into that top lobby to fight for the big points and leapfrog yourself up the championship order.
Well, yeah, it essentially it will mean that if you can get if you're fighting with someone, say you're in the bottom lobby for a lot, and you just scrape into the top lobby one day, you can take a huge advantage on everyone else around you. So for those that are in the top lobby as well, it is also a massive advantage in the championship. And it will mean if you do fall into that second lobby as someone who's fighting for the championship, it could really cost you quite a lot of points.
Yeah, just been looking at Logical Sports. He's actually driven really well so far. He didn't necessarily set the world on fire in the Formula Fords, but he's jumped into the downforce, or heavily downforce prototype he's done. He's finding the extra grip, comfortable with his driving style. He's not looking likely to crash anytime soon. Touch wood.
And then that's what you need in an endurance-based series where you're going for a long distance. I know I personally would much rather be consistent and finish the race than try and be the fastest car but end up in the wall for 15 laps in. So
here we go.
At this stage,
Carter's,
he's doing a very good job.
Yeah. And here we go. Aussie Carter's now starting to put that pressure on Illogical Sports. Aussie Carter's wants that 4th place to get himself back where he started. So across the finish line, we'll have a bit of slipstream now, as he's now within half a second of Illogical Sports. We could see a move done within the next couple of minutes, as there's Gear 3 coming ahead of him, still struggling with his car.
Throughout practice, Gear unfortunately had his car just did not look like a happy car. It was moving around all over the place under brakes and turns. So hopefully for next week he can sort out the setup on that car and get back up to the front of the pack.
Yeah. Always like seeing Gear 3 gaming in the battles. He likes to be very bold with his overtakes and makes the racing quite interesting. But speaking of interesting racing, here we go. Aussie Carter's right behind Illogical Sports. He's going to start looking for a move in the next few corners, I would reckon. So
definitely. He's got quite a lot more speed as well, so if he makes the move, chances are look for him to stick it.
I think turns 9 and 10. They'll be looking to get a good exit out of Did that look like Gear 3 Gaming spinning around? No, he just caught it.
Ooh.
And he's now moved out of the way, giving Aussie Carters free rein to chase down Illogical Sports, but the gap sort of opened up a bit in that last couple of corners.
Possibly checked up a little bit, seeing Gear just being a little bit more cautious because that lap car is there. You don't want to try and make a move and end up with all three cars backwards in the wall again.
Round La Chapelle, turn 4 on this track, and down through turn 5, still holding station at the moment. Aussie Cars just can't quite close that last couple of car lengths to really put that pressure on. Illogical Sports is driving on his limit, I would guess, is without going over it. Keeping that car in the right spots and keeping that speed up, which is all he needs to do at this stage.
Logical Esports though, he's down to about 23 litres of fuel. That's not a lot of fuel left in the car.
We did start with less fuel than the other drivers, so.
Oh, and he's round.
Oh no!
Oh, that's a shame.
He's undone all the good work he had put in to this point in this race, and now he's dropped himself back almost right in front of Jetto. That could be a
I guess a bit of a sympathy vote is that he's only lost one position. However, he has lost about 10 seconds in time, which means he's sort of put himself out of the battle with Carters and Vanish here as well.
But for Aussie Carters, it's now giving him a free track again. He can put his foot down and try and catch up. It's a long way now to Dark Racing. It's about, I want to say, to Lock Vanish. My apologies. Lock Vanish is 10 seconds up the road now, so it's a pretty big margin for this time of the race. That early spin, it probably will cost Aussie Carters a podium place, but he's got to put the foot down and give it a go.
I still think it's definitely possible for him to get the win, get the podium. As we've seen, he has been doing laps to match, and if not faster than the top 4. But it's going to be a tough ask now with essentially nearly 17 seconds up to 3rd and 11 seconds up to 4th.
Still got Dredd out the lead. That gap is now 24 seconds over Gokgecko. Gokgecko now, he's pulled his gap to 5 seconds over Dark Racing. Dark Racing just can't quite keep up. The combination of Gokgecko and Aussie Carters is very quick at the moment. In fact, on the top 5 on that last lap, Dark Racing was the slowest, so he could be starting to feel a little vulnerable if he can't pick his speed up.
It might just be that he made a small mistake somewhere, but as you say, if he is starting to struggle a little bit as the car gets a little bit lighter, the tyres get a little bit worn, just not as comfortable, possibly see him fall back into the clutches. And I think we've got an issue for Dark Racing, and we do. He's been off the track there.
So he's actually lost the podium place in that. Must have spun it coming out of that double right-hander, and all of a sudden that makes him vulnerable to Aussie Carters, who is flying at the moment.
Now only 7.5 seconds back as well, so and now Darky's probably going to lose a little bit more time because he's had the spin, he's all flustered, he's got to try and get himself focused again and get back into the driving. So hopefully he can settle back in and we can get going again and see him at his true potential here as well.
43 minutes left. Starting to creep up towards that halfway mark. Halfway will be at 35 minutes. On lap 19 for Dredd, he's just powering away. He's still doing 125, so he's done the whole race. He's been super consistent and kept the speed up.
I think he might be coming up to lap Whopper there as well. So he's already put CMD Cirrus, Gear 3 Gaming, and Right Solar down a lap. I think he might be about to put Whopper down another lap as well. So he's really starting to tear through the lap cars.
Yeah, but he won't be too far behind Cole Blake as well. He's Jetto.
And I think Datto Racing here has pulled onto the back of Jetto as well there. So
yeah,
got another close fight here, possibly that could end with an overtake as well.
Yeah, I thought Jetto might have been able to keep up with Logical Sports, but just hasn't quite had that same pace. He's now fallen right into the clutches of Datto. He's got a bit wiggly coming out of that corner. He's putting his foot down. Datto Race is getting close to a pit stop now. He's only got 14 litres left in the tank.
Definitely. One of the other drivers who's probably running out of fuel here is Dredd, who hopefully will be wanting to get to around about that 40-minute mark, which if he puts a full tank of fuel in, he can make it home to the end from. He's got about, I would put it at about a lap or two before Dredd. We see Dredd coming into the pit lane here as well.
Yeah, exactly. Dredd was one of the ones that started with a bit less fuel than everyone else. He had only the 60 odd, so I feel the drivers were just looking to doing the full fill up for their pit stop, whereas the others were just looking at a half fill. Gecko's been driving well in second, and he's Logical Sports in 6th place.
Another one of the drivers that put a short load in, but he's managed to save a bit more fuel than the others, so that might come back to help him out and gain him a few more seconds in the pits if he's got less fuel to put in as well.
Yeah, he's in that Ligier Nissan that is well renowned for being very good on his fuel. This car has won our Daytona 24-hour event 3 years in a row, so we know it's a very good car to drive. And as we actually got Cyrus into the pits now, they've got the crew waiting for him. We want to see if this is a scheduled pit stop or if it's unscheduled. Doesn't look like his
Being
car's
that we're about
damaged.
40 minutes in, I'd probably say this is a scheduled pit stop here. A bit of strategy because he's in a really, really close battle with Right Solar for 11th place there. So I would hazard a guess this is strategic to try and get a bit of an undercut, get out there, get running around with possibly a bit different, slightly heavier fuel load, a bit more comfortable in the car. Hopefully he can get the undercut on there and
that's
get back out ahead.
Full tank of fuel for Cyrus. He's gonna be able to go to the end now. Yet didn't change tyres, only put the fuel in. So that's we'll see if the tyres will keep the same amount of grip, which we reckon it will. As he's actually got I want to say that must be okay. That's Cole Blake behind Cyrus, and so Cyrus will probably have to let Cole Blake through in the next couple of laps.
They see a few more drivers now coming into the pits after seeing Cyrus come in, seeing that he's blinked, he's ready to go to the end here. We might see a couple guys come in as a bit of a reaction as well.
Still reckon most of the pit stops are still about 5 minutes away. You want to try and make the most of the tank being light so you can churn out some of those qualifying laps. As Dredd's actually dropped into the 26s, that was probably so that he could lap one of the back markers on the previous lap.
I think he's had to lap Whopper on the previous lap and Gear 3 Gaming on this one, so it's hurting his time a little bit, but he's going so quickly even when he has to go through traffic. It's a little bit something special, as I think that might be Cyrus off the track again.
Yeah, must have made a mistake. He's just stayed out of it to let the cars through. I think he's just let Dredd through there. So Dredd's now lapped Cyrus for, I would expect to be the second time in this race.
Yep. So he's put Cyrus and Gear 3 Gaming 2 laps down there as well. So Gear 3 Gaming has to make a pit stop to make it to the end, but now Cyrus has got Gear behind him to worry about as well.
Cyrus is the only one that's pitted, so even if Gear 3 Gaming catches up to Cyrus, it will probably be in Cyrus's best interest to just back out and let Gear 3 Gaming through, as Dredd's now gotten past Kyle Blake. So that's another lap on Kyle Blake. Actually, the
As you
first
see
lap.
on that last lap, Dredd was held up again by the traffic, dropped down to a 27.2. Still quicker than everyone else, however, so I don't think he'll be too upset about it.
It's just pace we haven't. It's the sort of pace we haven't seen in a long time in ANZ Combined Racing League compared to the other drivers.
Definitely, I think you mentioned it earlier. I think the one Chucky Racing was the last time we had a driver this dominant in a series, and in some ways it's good to see, in other ways it's a bit disheartening, but hopefully everyone else sort of comes to the party and we get everyone improving at the same rate to try and catch up to Dredd. Because the better the speed, the better the racing.
Yep, we've got 36 minutes left in this race. Dado Racer's now got right up behind Jetto. He's going to look for a move. Jetto covers off the inside. They've tangled. They've both crashed. They've been able to hold it.
Oh, that was big. And there's the leader there actually who's almost caught up in that. So lucky not to get caught into it. But that was a big hit and possibly ramifications for that as well.
Oh, I don't think there was too much in it, to be honest. It's just a case of both drivers trying to go for the same piece of track at the same time. And
possibly a little bit of damage though to the front of Dado's car. More what I was referring to. But yeah.
We could see Dado come to the pit stop, into the pits this lap as Dark Racing into the pits as is Right Solar. So they've now blinked, put the fuel in the car.
35 minutes and 50 seconds. And they've both come into the pit lane there.
Right Soul leaves his pit bay and trundles down the lane. He's got 70 litres in the car, so they'll get him to the end quite comfortably.
This Dark Racing's taking a little while in the pits. I wonder if he's taking tyres.
He could be taking tyres, or he could be repairing damage.
They have got the slicks out there, so possibly taking tyres.
So here we go. Dark Racing, it was a very long pit stop. He's filled the car up as well. So he'll be good to the end. And he's probably changed tyres to give himself a pace advantage in the last part of this race.
He had about 7.5 seconds over the top of Vanish as well. So I think he had the time and the opportunity to take those tyres as well. To now go out there, get a good undercut, get a good few laps under his belt, and move ahead, and possibly even get onto the back of Gecko.
He's dropped 11 seconds now behind. Will come out 11 seconds behind Walker, so we'll be looking to charge that down. As Dado goes for another move on Jetto. They're going side by side, and it looks like they've touched again. But Jetto's now gone onto the grass to avoid that. So it's almost twice in just a couple of minutes that they've tangled.
Possibly a bit of bad blood going on there. Maybe a bit of I'm not happy with you there for that move, but
and this is
hopefully they're all good. But as we say,
they're squabbling.
And there we go, Dado coming into
Kyle Blake into it as Dado pulls into the pits, and Dredd is into the pits now. So the race leader is in.
0.4 litres in the tank as well, so he ran it dry.
Yeah, so he'll be filling up the tank.
Dado there with 1 litre left as well.
So these are the guys that short filled at the start of this race. They're now putting the fuel in to get to the end.
I'd be interested to see where Logical Esports is at on this fuel. So he's got 4 litres left. So he started with, I think, 65 or 63 litres of fuel. So he's got a little bit extra. So Gecko takes the lead there by staying out.
Yep, that Ligier Nissan, very good on its fuel economy. As here comes Dredd out of the pits. Still
61.2 litres there.
He comes in just ahead of Loft Vanish. Loft Vanish still has to make a pit stop, so here comes Dado coming out of the pits. He's going to come out behind Dark Racing. So it looks like he's had to repair some damage from his squabbles with Jetto. He's now out in what looks like 10th place. Illogical Sports now comes into the pits with 3 litres left. I reckon he might have been able to do another lap. He's being conservative. He's going to come in. And we'll see where he comes out in relation to Darky and Dado, who I reckon have had longer than normal pit stops.
Definitely. I would almost hazard a guess that there's... well, I'm tipping there was definitely some damage for Dado as we see Kyle and Whopper also come into the pit lane there. But I'm not 100% sure if Dark Racing had some damage or not there. This is a very long stop. Very likely though.
As
I think Illogical Esports has gone into the... Kyle Blake there has gone into the wrong pit box.
Yeah, he put into the wrong pit box. He's now come out. Alright, Dark Racing's now past Illogical Sports, so Dark Racing's pit stop wasn't quite as long as what we thought it would be.
As Dado there's all the way back in the chicane still, so quite a long stop for Dado.
Yeah, but Kyle Blake and Whopper still in the pit lane. So it looks like Dado will keep that position and move into 8th place by the looks of things.
Yep, so he'll take over those two.
So at the moment, Gokgecko leads from Dread. Gokgecko's still yet to make a pit stop, while Dread has. Loftvanish is 3rd. He needs to make a pit stop. Same goes for Aussie Carters. The same with Jetto in 5th. Dark Racing is the 2nd of the guys who have pitted. Illogical Sports the same. Dado Racing 8th also pitted. Whopper and Kyle Blake. Whopper's actually jumped Kyle Blake in the pits, so that's
I was about to mention that, sorry, yes, as a good strategy, possibly even less fuel though, is more what I'm going to tip, because Kyle's put in 75 litres, Whopper's only taken about 68, so he's just short fueled it, got out ahead, hopefully he's got enough to get to the end.
yeah,
Jetto there is also into the lane.
So this is be crucial in that battle with Dado Racer. So he'll be looking to try and get ahead of Dado. It'll be a fine line as to how much fuel he puts into his car. I think he's sold more fuel than Dado, so he shouldn't have to put in as much. As we're still waiting to see him take off. So here we go.
As he's taken off.
There's Dado.
It's going to be tight as
Coming
Dado
in.
rounds the last 2 corners.
Yep, Jetto's still in the lane. Dado looks like he's cut the final corner. Will he have a slowdown? Looks like he's good. It's going to be very close between Dado and Jetto. Jetto.
I think we're going to see side by side into turn 1 here.
And that was so close. And Dado stays ahead of Jetto just.
It's good racing. As I think we've got Loftvanish and Aussie Carters here. Aussie Carters is all over the back of that. Oh no, Vanish, sorry, is all over the back of Dread.
Yep, Dread has of course made the pit stop. Loftvanish has not.
And a 3-second margin earlier though, and it's now down to less than a second, so I wonder if there's been a mistake there somewhere.
Yeah, could be Dread starting to crack, but he's still got a pretty good margin to the next car who has pit. He's got a 1 minute gap over Dark Racing, who has made his pit stop already. Loftvanish still continuing, he's still got 10 litres in the tank. And Gokgecko is still charging at the front. He'll still probably continue for another lap or 2.
Still got 8 litres in the tank, so he'll possibly be trying to run it as low as possible for as long as possible, short fuel it, and hopefully get a good run, overcut the competition. As Gear 3 Gaming there just pulls out of the way, falls another lap down. Again, not a great race for him, but being in the top lobby, he'll still get better points than a lot of other drivers, so bit of a consolation prize there for him, but yeah, not sure he'll be too pleased with it.
Pit stops have been a great way to break the field up just a little bit. Dado and Jetto are still reasonably close at the moment. They won't like each other at the moment. It's about a 2.5 second gap at the moment. Dado seems to have the early speed as his tyres are coming to temperature earlier than Jetto. We'll have to see over the next few minutes if Jetto can get his pressures in the right window and take it up to Dado.
Definitely, as I think. There we go. I wondered. Got Gecko there is into the pit lane there, making his stop as Dredd I think is already about to pass him there. Oh, he's off track there. Sorry, we caught him at the
Dredd
wrong
has
point
made
there.
a mistake. Not that it's going to hurt him too much. As now Dredd enters first. Vanish stays out. And he's moved into second place. He's got Gecko in the
Aussie
pits.
Carters as well.
Yep,
Follows his teammate in there.
So thankfully in this series the teammates do have separate booms, so there won't be any double stacking happening. We have seen that being a thing in ANZCRL Combined Racing League in the past, more due to glitches than anything else. But
Good to see here how Darky shapes up against these two, because we think he may have had a longer stop than scheduled.
yeah, exactly. Still at the back of the circuit. I reckon Gecko should be getting. In fact, he's running down the pit, so Gecko will
And so
come
is
out
Aussie Carters.
effective second. Could be third. Here comes Carter. So where's Dark Racing? He's still coming around the final corner. So Dark Racing has lost a lot of time compared to Aussie Carters. So Aussie Carters now.
Yeah, that is
moves
a
into-
big margin.
He's in fourth place at the moment. We don't know where Vanish is going to factor in this.
May see Vanish in this lap or the next lap.
In fact, he's in now.
And then, as we see, yes.
So he's not taking any chances now. He's
Oh,
actually
bit
run
wide.
wide into the pit entry. Activates the pit limiter, and here comes the crew, pulls out into the lane. They're getting ready to serve him as he trundles down the pit lane.
Good to see where Gecko fires out in this as well. I feel like he should get in front of Vanish, but if Vanish times the fuel well and gets a good short fuel in, he might be able to make some time up as well.
As the fuel is going into that Ligier Nissan, a car that won one Daytona 24-hour for ANZCRL Combined Racing League 2 times. Couldn't quite go for
And he's
the
already
three-peat.
moving.
He's
There's
got-
a very short stop for Vanish.
and
Only putting 40 litres in, and I think he's managed to pull it off, and he's into second place there. What a move. Brilliant stuff there from the Daytona podium finisher.
So now we'll just have to wait and see if he has given himself enough fuel to get to the end. We've got 25 minutes left in this race, so it's a fair chunk of
It's going
time.
to be tight. It'll definitely be tight, but yes, what a move though, to move himself from essentially where he was fourth all the way up into second place. He's done a very good job.
It's going to be marginal because it was 45 minutes to do that tank of fuel. We've got 25 minutes left, so it's just over half the tank he needed, which is just what he put in as Gear 3 Gaming is back in the pits. I think that's the second time he's pulled in.
Yep, this will possibly be for his pit stop to the end of the race there as well. So
Yeah, he just needed just a splash and dash to get to the end. Kyle Blake has got Whopper right behind him. This is for the minor placings in 9th and 10th.
I wonder if Kyle's made a move there, because Whopper, as we did see, did come out of the pits in front of Kyle, but looks like Kyle may have gotten back past him there with a move somewhere. So we'll have to wait and see who's got the pace, or if it was in fact a mistake or something. As
We'll just have to see how this battle plays out. Aussie Carters has actually closed up a lot to Gecko.
definitely.
I think Gecko must have put too much fuel in his car.
I think they've both got a very similar fuel load, so possible that maybe he's just struggling with older tyres as the cars get a bit more worn, because they definitely are losing pace, as we can see. Most drivers, including the leader, are a couple seconds off their peak speed. Dark Racing there is the only one who actually is still doing 27s, so that leads me to believe he possibly took tyres in that pit stop, which is why he has fallen back from second to fifth.
Yeah, he's actually closing up on Aussie Carter's now. His Dreader's now gone back into the 26.0, so his tyres have come back up to optimum pressure now and he's charging away. But Dark Racing, he's after the pit stop, he's now doing superbly. It's now 2.5 seconds to Aussie Carter's.
And you can see him there as that little blob we saw in the foreground there was Aussie Carter's. He is closing into the back of him, starting to reel him in. And Darky will really want to be at least getting back onto that podium after taking those tyres.
It might be worth jumping on board with Dark Racing and let him take us for a lap around the circuit as he closes in on Aussie Carter's.
Yeah, we'll jump on board as he comes around the final corner there for you folks at home and turn it up as we watch a lap of the Le Mans Bugatti circuit with Dark Racing from the cockpit view.
That was a lap of the Bugatti circuit on board with Dark Racing 40. He didn't quite put in as good a lap as Aussie Carter's that time by, so he's actually dropped back a little bit, and he's picked up a time penalty there, so that's hurt his race just a little bit. Gecko's closing in. He was set a faster lap last time than Vanish. He's still about 7, 8 seconds behind, but he has the fuel to burn, as they say.
Yes, and Vanish will definitely won't be pushing that car too hard on the fuel, because yes, he in his mind, hopefully he knows how much he's got left and he can get to the end. But at the same time, you just don't know sometimes when you do run those fine margins. Just sort of got to be a little bit more careful with it. But I think 9-second lead, he's got a bit of room to work with there.
The Vanish, the big advantage he's done is he's given himself that track position through his strategy, and so he will be tough to overtake. We've already seen how tough this track is to overtake, and you really need to make sure that your car's got some good downforce so you can, as we've seen Aussie Carter's make a couple of moves around the outside of turn 5, which would hopefully be able to see if Gecko catches up. Maybe Gecko has learnt from his brother and can pull a similar move.
Definitely. As I think Darky made another mistake there because he did a 132 on that last lap, which is well off the peak speed of that car. So possibly just struggling a little bit as we get later in the race. Fatigue starting to set in. Just starting to lose your focus a little bit. Hopefully everyone can settle down and get back to driving quick again.
Yep. So just see the Vanish there, and there's. I want to. Is that?
That was. I think that's Kyle Blake there.
Could be Kyle Blake. Yeah. It's got the all green machine.
Yep, definitely there. I will give you that it's a little bit confusing sometimes. It does look very similar to the Gecko and Aussie Carter's machines, but they're considerably quicker at this stage, and I think Gecko is starting to reel in the off vanish at quite a rate of knots there. He's picked up another second on that last lap. Starting to run out of time though. There's I think Jetto there as well. There's this little battle here, this heated little exchange is starting to warm back up again between Jetto and Dado.
Yeah, we saw them come together early in the race at turn 4, and it looks like Jetto's got a bit better late race speed than Dado Racer. So come in.
Time for Jetto's return serve. Will be interesting to see how he goes about this, whether he's as aggressive as Dado was, or if he plays it a bit safer.
Yeah. It's closing now, so it's now half a second, so it's... Dado is very vulnerable at the moment.
Both pushing really hard, using all the track they can and then some. I think Jetto's just lost a little bit of time through the third sector there. Possibly that's where Dado's strengths are versus his weaknesses.
Be that downforce levels and how that suspension is set up. You look at the times in the previous lap, and Jetto was still 1.7 seconds quicker than Dado Racer, so he's got the speed advantage at this late race stage. Still 15 minutes left, so plenty of time for Jetto to make a move and snatch 7th place back from Dado.
Definitely, as another person who's started to make a move is Dark Racing's picked up his pace again. He's back within 2.5 seconds of Aussie Carter's, and he was a second quicker on the last lap.
Yeah, so if he can avoid making the mistakes he's made over the last few laps, this could be another one to watch to see who can take that 4th place. Because every point will count towards the championship. There is a drop round in this series, but if you can get as many top performances in as you possibly can, that will massively help your chances coming into the season.
Definitely. I think poor old Gith, who came, he's going to have to use his drop round for this one. Unfortunately, just not been his day at all for today.
Yeah. In the final 15 minutes now. Jetto was actually slower in that last lap than Dado, so Dado's had a much cleaner run.
As the margin between Dark Racing, sorry to cut you off there, and Aussie Carter's is now down to less than 2 seconds as he starts to close into the back of Aussie Carter's. Darky will be filthy that he's had to fall off out of second position in that first stint, so he'll be charging forward, trying his hardest to get back into at least 4th position, and hopefully he'll want to be back on that podium.
Yeah, Aussie Carter's has maybe burned his tyres out just a little bit, having had to push him so hard to work his way back up to 4th place. And it could be at this very late race stage that it could start hurting him. We look at Jetto, back to 1 second.
Click back to this one again.
So
it seems to me like Jetto's got a bit of an advantage through sector 1 and 2, but Dado just holds on and pulls back away against him through the final sector.
Although Jetto was much better through that right-left section there, and he's kept to within 7-8 tenths, but hasn't quite got that same exit off the final corner on what Dado did.
I think he's just caught the gravel on the outside there coming through the last corner, just slowed him down enough that he's lost a bit more time with Dado there.
So through the Dunlop chicane they go under the Dunlop bridge. It's now 1.2 seconds, so Dado's just getting much better exits than Jetto at this stage. But Jetto's got that better cornering speed, so it's a bit of cat and mouse at the moment. It's going to probably come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes is the one that will prevail in this battle.
As we see though that Dado Racing has 4 seconds worth of time penalties. So
same with Lofvanish as well. So if Gokeke can close within 4 seconds of Lofvanish, he can take that second place off him.
definitely. So it's not over at all for any of the positions on the leaderboard at the moment. As CMD Cirrus does the right thing there, moves out of the way, lets these two battle on. Slightly better lap from Aussie Carters that time round though, in the little battle between him and Darky.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, Aussie Carters still lost ground to Darky in that last lap, but by not as much. And Dark Racing 40 still has the time penalty sitting over his head, so if he needs to try and get past Aussie Carters and clear a gap, but he's only got 11.5 minutes to do so. As CMDR Cyrus has pulled into the pits, this will be to repair some damage. As,
yeah, it's unfortunate for the young man. It's unfortunate for Cyrus. He's having a good battle with Right Solar throughout the race, and yeah, he's had to come into the pits there and fix some stuff up. Aussie Carters loses more ground to Dark Racing on that last lap, another 4/10. It's now down to 1.5 seconds now. This is really starting to heat up here. It's good stuff. Love to see it.
Yeah, got some couple of really good battles. Now at the end of this race, we've got 11 minutes left now. The clock continues to count down. The time is starting to run out. If Darky needs to make his move, he needs to do it now. It's now 1.3 seconds as they run down to turn 5.
Definitely starting to push hard now. Everyone's sort of going, trying to give it everything they've got, 100%. Nothing left in the tank, nothing left on the track, no tyres left. They'll want to be able to push the cars to the limit at this point. As I think Right Solar as well has come into the pits there, so it's unfortunate there as both drivers have had to come into the pits late in the race.
Looks like the back markers have been striking trouble at this late stage. Well, back at don't think they have quite as much experience in these prototypes as the other drivers. Not quite as much practice, and it's catching them out. But
Definitely,
here we go.
as the margin opens back up again a little bit, back out to about 1.7 seconds.
Yeah.
So Aussie Carters might have just sort of gone, oh dear, Darky's catching up here. Got to put a foot down.
Yeah, Darky's just made a little mistake here and there. Aussie Carters now pick that gap out. It's almost 2 seconds now, so bit of a poor lap from Dark Racing.
Might have picked up another time penalty there, and he has. He's now up to 3 seconds worth of time penalties.
Yeah, so that would be why that time was so slow. He was just serving the slowdown. Probably at that that fast left-right chicane on the way back to the pits.
And another dynamic here. Darky and Aussie are getting caught here by the leader of the race, who's about coming up to lap them here. So now they're also racing not only to race each other, but to stay on that lead lap there as well.
Gecko's also been in the wars with slowdowns on that last lap. Here's
Whopper
now,
here,
catching up to Jetto.
Come out of nowhere. Oh, Jetto's run wide there. Who can get a better exit here?
Jetto's he's tucked in behind the back of Jetto to get that slipstream. He's going to look for a move into the Dunlop chicane. They're trying to go around the outside at turn 1. Jetto doesn't give him any room whatsoever. Whopper darts left, darts right. Jetto holds on.
Can he get a crisscross going?
Looks like Jetto got a good enough exit. They come down to La Chapelle where Jetto got caught up by Dado in that first... Early in the race, as Lofvanish has actually caught up to him, who is a lap ahead, so these guys will be... They're battling, but they also need to let Lofvanish through. As Lofvanish
This will be hurting
Vanish
as well.
Place.
Yeah, because remember, he's got that 4-second penalty holding over his head, and he's trying to stay a good margin ahead of Got Gecko. He's now lost about 3 or 4 seconds, lost a couple seconds there, which is crucial in his race, so he's now down to 7 seconds. And he had got that margin back out to 9 seconds.
Yeah, Gecko also having to deal with traffic. He's got Kyle Blake right in front of him.
Lofvanish is also... Sorry, Jetto there is holding up Lofvanish even more. He will not be happy with this.
Yeah.
This will be killing his race.
Yep. So coming in the final corners there, Jetto's running a little bit wide there, so that's why he's losing the most amount of time. I'm gonna say here comes Lofvanish. He's gonna try to make a move on Jetto. And Jetto's now not, once again, he's not giving Lofvanish any room. He's darted down the inside of Lofvanish. They're side by side through the chicane. Lofvanish is getting into the side of Jetto. Jetto's holding position.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Jetto really needs to let Lofvanish through. His Whopper's now disappeared. So he actually got caught up by that as well. And Whopper's actually lost the place to Kyle Blake. Is now Jetto's still defending hard from Lofvanish. Jetto needs to learn Lofvanish is not on the same lap.
And that margin now is down to 5 seconds at this point. Lofvanish is now going... He's well within the position to lose that second place. This is big stuff, people. This is very, very big.
Yeah, this is unbelievable stuff. I don't know what is going on. Jetto really needs to let
the other
Lofvanish
consideration,
through now.
here is the fuel level. Lofvanish starting to run out of fuel as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jetto basically parking it in front of Lofvanish here, and now it's down to 4. Oh, and there's contact. That all could have been avoided there.
Yeah, could have. That could very likely have given Lofvanish some damage, and that's closed Gecko up. Gecko's now 2.3 seconds behind.
That's a real shame there for Lofvanish. He pulled a brilliant strategy move with the fuel and timing it well, and now he's lost it all with one mistake from another driver.
Yeah, there's only 5 minutes left in this race. And when the timer runs out, the next time the leader crosses the finish line will be the end of the race. So we're looking at maybe 3 and a bit laps to go.
And I would look at, hazard a guess there would be ramifications for what just transpired over the last few laps between those two drivers there.
Whopper's managed to get past Kyle Blake now, and he's and with that spin from Jetto, he's allowed Whopper right back up. Jetto's not giving an inch this race. We've seen that with Datto, we've seen it with Lofvanish, we've seen it with Whopper. But can Whopper make the move late in the race?
Oh, I think that was... Hang on a sec, I think that might have been... That is, it's...
Gecko's now
gone off
made a mistake.
Backwards.
So all of a sudden, that's swung the result back in Lofvanish's favour. And Lofvanish may keep his second place after all.
Now it's going to come down to, can Lofvanish finish with the fuel he's got? This is huge. And now, not that far behind Aussie Carter's, there's definitely a podium on offer here now as well.
And Aussie Carter's is right behind Gecko. Gecko may have got damage, we do not know. We didn't quite see where he ended up when he fired off the road. Kyle Blake has listened to the blue flags and he's let Gecko through. And I expect him to do the same to Aussie Carter's. It's going to come down to the T-Mac battle for the final place on the podium.
And the other thing is they're also catching up to Jetto and Whopper here. And as we've seen already, Jetto doesn't discriminate. He will not let you through. Driving very defensively this race, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes when the leaders catch up to him.
It's been a dramatic conclusion to this race. And we've still got a massive battle on that's going to go down to the end of this race. Jetto and Whopper. And Kyle Blake is not too far behind, so if these guys get tangled up again, Kyle Blake could really benefit out of it.
Definitely. Whoppers just can't quite find a way around at this point.
Yeah, Jetto's
Not easy to overtake, as we've already mentioned, and Jetto is driving very, very defensively. So
yeah, but Jetto's also making a lot of mistakes. He's allowing Whopper to stay with him. Just seen him miss quite a few apexes now, Jetto. So this could be, if Jetto makes a big enough mistake, that could give Whopper the opening to make them move down. 2.5
and as we saw earlier,
left.
that's how
Here we
Datto
go.
got past.
Thought,
Jetto made the mistake into this corner here earlier, and Datto managed to sneak up the inside. So that's what Whopper will be hoping to do, just pressure him into that mistake.
Whopper's
Jetto
left, he's
fires
looking
down the
right.
inside.
Can't quite find the gap as there's got Gecko in the background with the lights on. I think that's got Gecko in the background. I thought I saw
yes,
white
it is there,
hands.
got Gecko.
Yep.
And he's trying to chase down Lofvanish because he knows if he can get within 4 seconds of Lofvanish, there's a second place on offer there. So he'll want to get past these two very quickly as we come into the last minute of the race soon as well.
He's good. Whoppers now. He had a look around the outside. He's still looking. He's sneaking up the inside.
Oh,
Almost
there's a bit of
touched.
contact.
Jetto just hangs on, but he's hanging on by the skin. And
As I think Whopper might have missed a gear there, he just revved it out. Didn't really go anywhere.
yeah, gives Jetto a bit of breathing room, and now got Gecko's right behind. We're getting close to the final lap now. And this is going to be trouble for Gecko, because Gecko is in. I think he just needs to sit behind these two that are battling. Whopper still can't find a way past Jetto. As here we go, he's got to run now. Jetto's blocked!
Contact and Jetto's gone!
And Jetto into the fence, he's lost his rear wing, that's his race done and dusted.
So that'll be Kyle into 9th, and as he falls another lap down on Dredd there as well. But that is big contact there.
He's got no
Hard
rear
one to
wing, so
judge,
that car's going to be very unstable at the back. So he'll just have
from
to
my
trundle
point of view.
around. As there he goes,
Oh, and he's
spun
gone
there.
again. Yeah, it looked to me like it was just a bit of a racing incident. Two cars wanted the same piece of real estate. Didn't end well. Whopper had the overlap on the inside, and I don't think Jetto knew quite how much of an overlap he had, and unfortunately it ended in tears.
The timers clicked down to 0, so we are on the final lap now. There's Dredd coming around the final couple of corners. It's been a masterful display. He's lapped almost the entire field, bar about 4 or 5 cars. As here we go across the line.
The car behind him there is Dark Racing as well.
And that is Dredd with the win. Dark Racing has just crossed the line in 5th.
The next car back is Lofvanish.
Lofvanish
He's, I think, serving a slowdown there. And he's down to... Lofvanish is out of fuel. He's run out of fuel.
No, he's still accelerating. He's still going.
He's down to 0.2 litres of fuel.
So that ambitious fuel strategy is he just hasn't given himself quite enough.
Hopefully, for his sake, he can get it to the end and get a 4th place, but I think he's lost that podium there, unfortunately.
Yeah, there goes Got Gecko into 2nd place now.
And he's down to 0.0.
He's out of fuel now.
Yep, and that's it.
He's got nothing.
He's got no fuel
Lofvanish.
left. That is a real shame.
That was an ambitious strategy. He tried to play to the strengths of that Ligier Nissan, which is its fuel economy, but he hasn't quite given himself enough fuel to get himself across the line. So he finishes 1 lap down. Got Gecko rounds the corner. He's finished 2nd, and his teammate, despite all odds, spinning on the 1st lap, and he crosses the line into 3rd place. That is probably drive of the day.
Today.
As that was a slow, illogical sports there. Has he crossed the line yet? Yeah, he has.
I think he's already finished the race there. Yep.
So there's still
I think
one,
we've.
still still got to wait for the time and the
I
tick
think
out for Loch
yep,
Vanish.
because we've got a Loch Vanish stranded out there on the
So
racetrack.
that is very unfortunate.
Well, what a way to finish the race there with a driver running out of fuel on the last lap. Drama galore between Jetto and Whopper, and yeah, one hell of a way to finish that race.
Yeah, so there your result
I
at
don't know
the
about
moment.
you, but I was thoroughly entertained.
Dread, Got Gecko, Aussie Carters, Loch Vanish, Dark Racing, Illogical Sports, Dado, Whopper, Kyle Blake, Jetto, Right Soul, Gear 3 Gaming, and CMD Osiris rounds out the field. And that is, to my knowledge, 2 races in a row hosted by us where drivers run out of fuel on the last lap. As we saw this happen at the Imola 4 hours as well. It's you think these drivers would learn.
It's always pushing it to the edge, always running that fine margin because you want 110% of everything, and unfortunately sometimes you just push it a little too far.
Anyway,
I know I've done it before, finishing 4th when you could have had a podium, but it's heartbreaking, and I really feel for Loch Vanish there. It's not the way you want to finish it there at all.
so that is going to be it for this telecast tonight. We thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week when the series heads over to the Monza Grand Prix circuit in Italy. So
Should be a good one.
I've been your host, Sato15. Lockie55 has been my co-commentator for tonight, and we wish you all a good night.
Good night.